What is up, YouTube? In this video, we're gonna be trying to create our own blog using Strapi and React. And for that, we'll be using purely ChatGPT prompts, and we'll see how far we can go with that. So for start, we'll like to go to ChatGPT website, and we'll start with our first prompt. We'll consider that we're starting fully from scratch. So let's say we have nothing. And my prompt would be, I would like to create a website. We'll specify blog website. And for backend, I would like to use Strapi. Please do give me initial code and instructions on how to get started. And let's see what it'll give us. Quite long to think, and let's see. So it started with us installing the Node.js version. I think I have that already, but we can go to the website that it provided us and follow the instructions. So let's say that we want to start from the step number 2, and I will open my CLI. In this I'm using iterm, and so let's try their first command, which is npm install globally Strapi. So let's try that, and while it's installing, let's see what the third step is. So navigate to the directory, and let's create the blog using Strapi command, and this command should be available for us once we do install the Strapi itself. So let's give it 1 second and let's get back to it. All right, it looks like it did install, so let's try our command. So Strapi new blog, new my blog. So let's try that, and so it asks me to choose the database that I would like to use. So is it either SQLite, Postgres, MySQL, or Mongo? So let's say we'll go with SQLite, the very basic one, and file name would be the basic, sure, and it's creating our files. Okay, it looks like it did install, but it gave us some errors. It's saying that it's installed correctly, but some modules are not there. So let's try npm install as it suggested here. Okay, hopefully that fixed the issue, so let's check. So we do have a my blog folder. All right, so it looks like it did install something here, and let's see if it works. So let's try to go to the next step. So the next step here is configure your Strapi project, change into the project directory. So we did there, and let's try this command, npm run develop. Okay, so let's try that. So we do have this folder here, and once we're in this folder, we'll run this command, npm run develop, and let's see if it starts like a server for us, or is it installs the modules. Okay, so it gave us the error, so we'll be trying to fix that as we go. Okay, maybe it has to do with the Node.js version that we're using currently. So let's check our Node version, and we can also ask ChatGPT if it's a good version, but I think if it's version 12 and up, it should be fine. So probably it's another issue. So let's take a look. So let's ask ChatGPT, which Node.js version should I use for this? Okay, so since ChatGPT is limited to 2021, it says that version 14 should be fine, which I think it's not an issue. So let's dig more and see what is the issue here. Okay, let's try this version. Okay, so it looks like this time the version worked. So there must be an issue with my Node.js version, or this library version is not comparable, but seems like this version works. So let's try to go to our initial step with the run develop. So let's try that one more time. All right, so We went to the website. Let's change the language. All right, so we will start with our profile. So I'll just leave my data here, testexample.com. Very basic password. Hopefully that works. Okay. I'll try a more strong one. All right, so it looked like we did logged in to the Strapi dashboard, and it looks like it is the latest version. So let's go back to ChatGPT and ask it to help us configure this for our blog. I've asked it, so I was able to install it and created the profile inside. What's next? Okay, so it looks like he gave us the basic instructions on what to do inside of the dashboard. So like define content types, create content entries, configure permissions if we want to play with that, and then access the content via API and build our frontend. So let's go to Strapi. I'm actually also new to this, so let's try to build it together. So I do see that we have our collection already with our users, which is empty right now. So let's try to create one more collection. So if we go to the content types builder, we'll go to collection types. Let's create our collection. Name of our post. So let's say name or title. And that'll be a short text. So let's add that field. Then we'll say rich text will be the content. And let's see, what else do we want? We can add something like who created this. So let's say author. And for now, it'll be a basic name. And we'll not link it with the users collection in this tutorial. So we can set up the relation here. And I think the date will be nice. Created. And that'll be date time. And let's see here. What else do we need? Do we need any media or something like this? I'm not really think so. So we'll keep it basic at the moment. And we can save this. And there seemed to be an error. I'm not surprised that there are so many errors. This is what the actual development process is like sometimes. So you would be surprised if you'll be using only ChatGPT, but this is the challenge for today's video. So let's keep on trying. All right, so if we refresh the page, it seems like it actually works. So let's go here on the left side. You can see that we do have the posts. So if we click here, let's try adding a basic post. That'll be test post. This is a test content, and author will be next tech, and created we'll just say here at 12 o'clock. And let's save it. So it actually got saved, and let's publish it. So if we go to posts, we should have our first post here. And let's try using the API to fetch the posts. So let's ask ChatGPT for this. Well, I think we'll be using Postman. So let's say I created post, and it has title, content, author, and date fields. How do I fetch the records using Postman? So I think this instruction is pretty clear. So let's test it here. So it gave us the URL that we should be using, and it told us that we should be using get request. And yeah, we should be able to see the response. So let's go to Postman. We'll choose get here. We'll paste the URL here. So this is our post, and let's try to make a request. So of course it gave us the forbidden status. So let's go back to ChatGPT, and this is the response that we got. This time I didn't provide much details to ChatGPT, since by this point it should know the context of what we're talking about. So I think it'll be clear. So let's read what it gave us. It gave us some basic ideas on where to look. So let's start with checking the JWT talking if we do have one. And yeah, so how do we check for permissions? Is it settings or is it plugins? And so let's see. So administration panel, roles, providers, authenticated, public. So let's say that we can find count and let's see if that helps. And let's try this making the same request. And it did help. So since we are a public user, we basically said that all the public users will be able to get the data. And yeah, so looks like it is correct. And let's try making one more post. We'll not be using API to create or update posts. So basically this is where our Strapi will came into. This will be like our admin panel to manage our data, and we'll only be using the GET request for our blog to literally display the data on our website. So I think it should work now, but let's just try creating the second post. Second post. Here is a second post, and let's make the word second bold. So let's try markdown as well, and we'll do the same author, and we'll try to do some random date here, and let's hit save. All right, and let's publish it. And we should now have two posts. So let's go back to our postman, try making the same request, and we do receive two posts now with our basic markdown here. And yeah, so I think that is the time that we switch to our front-end side. To do this, we'll create a new folder. So we'll go to our project. So we'll use mkdir, and we'll call it our React app. Okay, and here we'll usually use something like create React app, but we'll go to ChatGPT and see what he thinks about it. So okay, now I want to create the content part of the app, so I'm going to use React. Okay. So it actually gave us the comment on where to create. So we'll try using the folder that we already created. And for that, we'll try using a dot. Hopefully that works. Or wait, let's make sure that we switch to our folder. And while it's creating it, let's see what are the next steps. Actually tells us that we can install libraries like Axios, React Router DOM. I think we're not gonna use the React Bootstrap, but since it recommends us, let's install it just in case. All right, so let's jump into the code and let's see our new folder here. Let's see what we have here. So let's try starting this project. npm start. And here we do have a live React app. So let's go back to ChatGPT and ask it to help us change our app.js file for us for our blog. Okay, so can you give me an updated app.js file that will show our blog? It looks like it gave us the new file, so let's follow this code. So we'll go to app.js, we'll replace that. Yeah, let me update this to use React. All right, and for our second file, it should be called post.jsx. So let's copy the code here. Let's go to rsrc. We'll just, without any folders, we'll just create post.jsx, and we'll paste it here. And yeah, let's go to our website and see how it looks like so far. So as you can see, it already works. So we do show our test posts and we can control them with our admin panel here. But I would ask ChatGPT to try giving us some basic styles to it as well. Can you give me a basic SCSS styling for the post.jsx file? Okay, so let's start with updating this to use SCSS. So let's run this command, and while it's installing, it tells us that we will need to create our module file. So we'll just use what it tells us, and here in the same directory we'll just create a new file. Let's copy the styling properties that it gave us. All right, and here let's import this module as it told us into our post.jsx directory. Okay, so here let's do this, and let's update what we have inside of our posts return. So let's replace this so it'll use our styles, and let's just give it one more second to install. And yeah, let's run npm start. And voila, so looks like it does have some better design now. And I see a little issue with the date, and I also wonder what will happen if we add a third post. We'll go down here, so let's test it here. So third post, very cool. Next stack, create a date. Let's set this, save. Forgot to publish it, right? Now it makes sense. All right, so the post is actually shown here, so everything seems to work just fine. And let's see, it actually even doesn't look too bad on iPad and phones at the same time. I think let's take a quick look what's wrong with our date. And if we go to Postman, check the date, I think it's using the wrong field, so we actually don't have .date, it's created at, and or we can use updated at, and it looks like it is working. And so it gives us this long date format, which doesn't look to be too nice. So let's ask ChatGPT to update it, and so we'll give him some details. So for example, like post date is actually post.end, it's showing the date like this, and let's copy it here, but we want it to show a prettier date format. Okay, so let's wait and see. Okay, so it looks like it forgot the context of the fact that it gave some styles to it. What we can do is insert our whole file and say, hey, can you make it work with our current file? But yeah, I think what we can do is just copy this format date from here and add it as one of our functions. And let's try wrapping our date into the format date. See if that works. So let's go back to our website. All right, looks like it fixed the issue. Awesome. So let's give it an updated version of our code. So this is the code that I have for post.jsx, and let's ask it to be able to open a separate page for a post. So I would like for each post to have its own page. How do I do that? All right, let's see what it gave us. So basically telling us that what I should be doing is import necessary things in our app.jsx. So looks like we'll be doing some tricks there. We already did the first step in the past, so we'll go to our app. We'll just import this here, and let's update our app code and post details.jsx. This will be what we display here. So we'll just copy what is suggested here. Let's create a new file, post details.jsx. Let's copy the code. All right, and we can later ask it to update to actually display the data here. So it checks for the URL params. So ID will be use params. So I'm guessing it should kind of work with the link. All right. So let's go to post, import the link here, and let's wrap or add this button here. All right, and it tells us that it will be opening a post with the ID. So let's see if that works. All right, so import a switch was not found. And let's go back to our second issue. Can resolve post details. Oh yeah, sorry about that. All right, and let's copy this issue to our Chat GPT. So I have an issue. I might have to just. Okay, so let's try installing this manually as it suggests us and see how far we can go with just following Chat GPT. So paste, let's install it. So I did all of that and it still doesn't work. All right, so it actually gave us some context on what this version has different. So the switch is no longer a switch, but it's roads. So sure, let's copy the code and see if it finally works. So let's try that. Let's try npm start and let's see. All right, it looks like it is actually working now. So let's see if we can go through pages. So post ID 2, post 3. All right, looks like it is working, but we do want to show the actual data if we open the post page. So now it is the time that we go back to ChatGPT with our initial question. So let's say this is what this post details is currently looking like. But I would want to actually use the post data and we have to fetch it inside. All right, it looks like it gave us the code pretty fast. So let's go to our Visual Studio Code, replace this. Let's see if the page works now. So it says that it is loading, but I think it's because our API itself is not allowing others to get posts by ID. So I think we can see if that is the case. So let's create one more tab here. Let's say post number 1. And yeah, let's see. Okay, so let's go to our Strapi and see in our permissions if we can give the data by 1. So if we go to settings, roles, public, and we'll say that they can find done, and let's save it. So let's try to make the same request here. Now we can fetch the data by ID, and now let's go back to our app, refresh the page, and voila, now we do have a functional blog page. So let's ask it to give some styling to it as well. So let's ask it to give us some styling. So we can go straight and update this here. Let's create our own new module file as it tells us here. So let's just do this and copy, paste, and let's enjoy the result. So it looks better now. The one thing that I've noticed that we would probably need to have some markdown. So let's ask ChatGPT about it. So let's say that our post content can be markdown text. So it looks like it gave us a plugin, so we'll just install it next. And let's paste it here. And let's update our file as it follows in this instruction. So we don't really need to read all of those details, we just copy and paste. And let's see if it installed. Yep, and let's do npm start. And let's go to our website, see if it did anything. And voila, now it looks like there is a markdown that is working here. And we can go to page with all of our posts, go here or here, refresh the page, and looks like it is working just fine. And we do have our own admin panel where we can add new posts, delete, edit them, do whatever we want, change the permissions, and so on. So I think that's it, and this is what we were able to create in less than 1 hour with the use of ChatGPT prompts, and it looks like it's not that bad actually. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Peace.